1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Every year, over 100 million animals are used in the United States for biological and medical research to study human disease, injury, development, psychology, and anatomy. Often these studies, these animals are inoculated with diseases, traumas, and pain. The entire industry has been built around supplying animals for research that treats animals as a tool in an experiment. These animals are purposely bred for research purposes or brought from another source. Animal research is generally inexpensive, time-consuming, and unreliable, and much of the research has proven to be inappropriate and not applicable to humans. Due to the differences in anatomy and physiology of humans, the heartbreaking reality of these animals are being abused, neglected, and tortured is often ignored by people by simply turning a blind eye. Most people don't realize that they're able to change the cruelty of animal testing simply by changing some of their everyday choices, such as choice in beauty products, health hygienes, and types of foods we consume. Using animals for research purposes dates back throughout the world's history, but in recent years, the practice of using animals for biological research has come under pressure for animal protection and animal rights groups. The Animal Welfare Act is the only U.S. federal law that protects animal and research. The act only covers minimal protection for certain species, while completely excluding certain animals such as rats, mice, and birds that are bred from research. These animals together are what constitutes for about 90 to 95% of all animals that are used in laboratories. This act also excludes cold-blooded animals such as fish, reptiles, and amphibians, as well as farm animals raised for food and fiber such as pigs and cows. For the other 5 to 10% of animals includes dogs, cats, primates, and other warm-blooded animals that are used in research. The act still only provides minimal protection. The act regulates housing, feeding, handling, veterinary care, and for primates their physiological well-being. The act has so many loopholes in it that there's no regulation even controlling the numbers and types of animals that a company is allotted to test on. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is solely responsible for the Regulation and Animal Welfare Act, but with just 150 active USDA inspectors that are responsible for overseeing more than 7,750 licensed facilities, it is simply impossible for these individuals to keep accurate track of what's really happening inside these companies. If a facility is considered to be federally owned and or operated, they are not required for inspection of these individuals. They simply have no jurisdiction over these facilities. When the USDA finds that a facility is breaking a regulation, they are only allowed to charge a company with a fine of a maximum of $10,000, which isn't even a debt in the income the business is really bringing in. In 2004, a 10-year-old chimpanzee named Dover died to overheating due to inadequate ventilation while he was inside a stainless steel box with solid flooring, roof, rear, and sides. The company was only fined $1,375 for the negligence that led to Dover's death. The loopholes in the act and that inadequate supervision of these huge multi-million-dollar company industries is a huge problem in protecting these animals from inhumane cruelty. Animals are put under many different types of testing. These include tests for allergies, skin irritations, eye irritations, lethal doses, fertility, birth defects, and tests related to cancer. Skin sensitization involves 32 guinea pigs or 16 mice. The substance is injected under the guinea pig's skin and on the skin of the mouse's ear. The results of the test determine the amount of ulcers, scaling, inflammation, and itchiness that result from the substance in testing. 1 to 3 rabbits are shaved and the test subject is then has substance applied to their skin and shows signs of redness, lesions, scaling, inflammation, and other signs of skin damage. In order to test eye irritation and eye corrosion, 1 to 3 rabbits have this substance applied directly to their eyes, which result in redness, bleeding, ulcers, blindness, and other signs of damage that are possibly irreversible eye damage. In an acute oral toxicity test, 7 rats have substances forced down their throat using a feeding tube. These substances can cause convulsions, bleeding from the mouth, seizures, paralysis, and death. Fertility and birth defect tests involve exposing male and female rats to the test substance, usually by force feeding with a feeding tube. The mother is then exposed to the substance throughout her pregnancy and up to 4 days after her pups are born. The pups are exposed to the substance through direct contact and through nursing with the mother. After the pups have reached puberty, the pups and their mother are killed and their tissues are examined. These tests can involve 675 rats, but sometimes involve up to 2,600 rats. To test for birth defects, the mother rat is exposed to a substance, and the day before she is expected to give birth, she is killed. Her pups are extracted and evaluated for signs of abnormal development. Cancer tests are done by taking 12 to 500 rats' bone marrows and blood after being exposed to a substance for at least 14 days. Most of the animals that are used for testing end up dying during the test, but if an animal does survive the test, they are killed by asphyxiation, by inhaling deadly gases such as carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide, decapitation, cervical dislocation, which is breaking the neck or spinal cord. Animal testing has proven to have many different errors in results of the test. Animal testing is also time-consuming and expensive. The alternatives to animal testing is using blood from human volunteers, skin cultures from human volunteers, artificially made skin, artificially made corneas, chemical concentration tests, artificially made lymph nodes. Johnson & Johnson is a company that has the ability to use alternative methods for testing their products, but instead they continue to use animal testing. An example of an alternative method to animal testing is with the use of human corneas. These corneas are donated to companies to test their products, such as how long it takes for the substance to burn through the cornea instead of actually applying it to a live rabbit. Watching the rabbit suffer as their cornea is burned through. To replace the use of live rabbits, rats' skins for skin sensitivity tests, a company can then instead use skin samples from these animals. This then replaces the pain of applying directly to the live animal. Use of mathematical codes, computer simulations, use of echocardiogram, color-coded Doppler imaging, non-invasive testing, three-dimensional human cell culture, bioengineered human cultures, and non-invasive magnetic pulses are just a few more examples of what companies can do as alternatives to animal testing. These tests are more accurate in what could potentially happen to an actual human when they are exposed to these substances. These tests are much more applicable and much cheaper than animal testing. There are many different ways one is able to take action against animal testing, simply by making a donation to a company that protects animals against animal testing and the cruelty it involves. A person is then also able to sign petitions against animal testing or by signing a letter to their federal representative to show they are not supportive of these actions against animals. Perhaps the simplest way that a person is able to show that they are against animal testing is by changing their purchases. Instead of using a company that uses animal testing, such as Johnson & Johnson, they can simply purchase from another company that uses alternative methods instead of subjecting innocent animals to cruelty. One of the greatest feelings of coming home from college is when you walk in the door and your cat and dog run up to you because you've been away for so long. Now imagine that the pet that you've had for your whole life being abused and tortured and having nobody there to stick up for them. That is how animal testing affects each one of you that are listening to this speech, and that why steps are needed to be taken in order to stop inhumane treatment that these animals endure. Now you can count already.
Okay. 1,
2, 4,
6,
7,
8, 9,
What are you guys up to?
he's 11.